Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me for this executive briefing. My name is Abdu, and I'm excited to present a strategic snapshot of how evolving macroeconomics forces are shaping the business environment. Whether you are a leading team, overseeing operations, or setting long-term visions, today's insight will support better, faster decision making. We will bridge theory and practice in a way that's directly relevant to leadership teams navigating uncertainty. Here is what we will cover across four interconnect topics. First, we will look at the core macroeconomics indicators and how they define business cycles, the fundamental rhythms of any economy. Then, we will examine the impact of global tariffs and trade tensions and what they mean for demand and growth in Singapore. Next, we will explore behavioral economics, a perspective that gives us a clearer understanding of how real people, not just models, make decisions. And finally, we will discuss the dual impact of generative AI of inequality, a a split path scenario that may redefine the future work. These are more than just topics. They are the real world levers that influence business strategy, workforce planning, and innovations. Let's begin with the basics that have extraordinary influence. The health of an economy is often measured through three major indicators: GDP, inflation, and unemployment. GDP or gross domestic product reflects a total output. If it's growing, the economy is expanding. If it's falling, we are in contractions. Inflation measures the rate at which price rises. Controlled inflation is healthy, too high and purchasing power erodes, too low and demand might be weakening. Unemployment tells us how many people are out of work and seeking jobs, often signaling whether the economy is running hot or cooling down. Together, these indicators from the cycle expansion, peak contractions, and recovery. Businesses that align themselves with these phases can time investments, hiring, and innovations more effectively. For Singapore, this awareness is crucial as a global trade hub. External shocks, from war to pandemics, ripple through faster than in larger, more insulated economies. Now, zooming out, let's talk about tariffs and trade tension. These are more than just policy decisions, they are macroeconomics events. Tariffs raise the cost of importing goods that might protect domestic producers short term, but globally it slows trade, reduces competitiveness, and creates inefficiencies. In Singapore, where trade is over 300% of GDP, this is a big deal. One key impact is what we call a deflationary shock. Demand drops, production scales back, and that can trigger falling price, which sounds good but can actually lead to a wage stagnation and lower growth. Maybank recently revised its forecast for Singapore's 2025 GDP to under 2.6%, down from earlier expectations. That's a signal to a recession. On the demand side, Singapore's export, especially in electronics and precision engineering, are sensitive to global cycles. This is where supply chain strategy matters. Rethinking sourcing, logistic diversification, and nearshoring can reduce exposure and increase flexibility. If we visualize this using the ADAS model, as we can see here, we see how reduced aggregate demand pulls output away from full employment, creating a negative output gap. That's why fiscal stimulus or demand side policies may be necessary, especially if export-led growth slows further. Now let's shift lenses. From policy and markets to people, behavioral economics give us a more realistic understanding of human behavior. Unlike traditional models, which assume peoples are rational and consistent, behavioral economics shows we are influenced by emotion, context, and cognitive shortcuts. Take the concept of loss aversion. We feel the pain of loss twice as strongly as the joy of gain. That affects consumer spending, employee motivation, and investor psychology. Or farming, how a message is presented can change its impact entirely. A product with a 95% satisfaction rate sounds better than one with 5% dissatisfaction. Even though they are the same, government have already embraced this idea. Singapore's CPF program uses default settings to nudge long-term saving. For businesses, the opportunity is clear. Design experiences that align with human behavior, whether it's simplifying forms, offering visual cues, or sending timely reminders. Small nudges can lead to large gains in engagement and actions. Intentionally, this also improves how we lead teams. Incentive design, feedback loops, and performance review can all benefit from behavioral timing. Let's now talk about one of the most exciting developments in modern economics, the rise of AI. In scenario A, it complements human labor, not replaces it. It pictures logistic workers using AI for routine, customer service reps using chatbots to manage simple queries, or teachers using AI tools to personalize learning. When this happens, productivity rises across all levels of the workforce. In economic terms, this shifts the demand curve for labor to the right. Wages go up, employment rises, and we close the inequality gap. In Singapore, this is possible thanks to proactive policies. Skills Future, AI-focused SME grants, and digitalization drives across sectors. The key here is access, making sure AI tools aren't just for tech elites but reach mid-sized firms and everyday workers. In this model, growth is inclusive. Society become more resilient, not more divided. Diagram explanation here. We see the demand for labor shifting rightward from D to D1, resulting in higher wages and employment. AI becomes a tool for inclusive growth, narrowing the wage gap, especially if combined with upskilling programs in Singapore. Now, let's explore the opposite scenario. Scenario B. In this future, AI replaces jobs rather than supports them. Routine roles, like a data entry, frontline customer support, or even entry-level accounting, are automated out of existence. The result is a drop in demand for labor. Meanwhile, displaced workers flood the market, increasing labor supply. This creates a new equilibrium. Lower wages, fewer jobs opening, especially for those without digital skills in the labor market diagram. The demand curve shift left, the supply curve shift right, and inequality widens in Singapore. This risk is very real. While we are ahead of digital readiness, the pace of automation is faster than the pace of retraining in some sectors. That is why workforce transformation must be continuous, not one time. Employers need to rethink roles, invest in cross-functional skills, and adopt AI responsibly. Otherwise, we risk building a future that works brilliantly for some, but not for all. We see the demand curve shift left, right, in the diagram, and supply shift right, leading to lower wage and employment. This scenario increases inequality as opportunities shrink for lower wage earners. Without strong reskilling, this could be a risk even in Singapore labor market. So, what can we conclude? First, we can ignore macroeconomic signals. They shape everything from capital costs to consumer behavior. Second, trade disruption remind us to build flexible, shock-resistant supply chains. Third, humane behavior isn't a side topic. It's central to how we market, lead, and grow. And finally, with AI, we are still writing the rules. We can choose whether this next era brings shared prosperity or deeper divides. In Singapore, I believe we have the infrastructure, leadership, and talent to shape the better path. Let's keep building toward it together. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to the conversation this parts.